welcome to my first Patreon post. My name is Leanna Walden. I'm a sexual energy activator, I'm a sexual energy activator, intimacy and relationship specialist, and I'm so excited to be here on the first live stream. I am here to talk about exploration in sex, love, and life. Okay, so this season 1, we're getting into sexual exploration, specifically personal, private exploration that I have done of the sexual dimension. So really excited to be here to begin to discuss this with you, to talk with you. I'm just trying to get my camera set so it looks half decent. The shape always changes no matter what I do. So, yes, let's get into it. Today, the topic is threesomes. My first threesomes. MMF, MFM, FMM, whichever combination you want to say it. In my case, MFM, because it was a sexual exploration with me and my husband, MF, and another M, another man. Which is something that is less common than, FFM, two females and a male, because most women don't let themselves go into that imagination of MMF. I've talked to many women, and there's a lot of fear around having sex with two men. I mean, having sex in itself is scary for many people, but with two men, quite scary. How about two bisexual men, which was my case, two bisexual men. I'm hearing. Okay, hopefully there won't be any construction going on. Okay, so I'd like to get into this beautiful, terrifying, titillating, and transformational story. These stories that I'm going to be telling, this is season 1, story 1, that I'm going to be telling over the next year or so. Are stories that I have, are actual experiences that I've had, very personal, and I am writing a book. So these experiences, many of them will be going into the book as well. So this gives me a chance to kind of workshop it, dive deeply into it. And if you're on the live here for Patreon, then you can ask me questions at the end of the talk, or during if you want. So I'm just going to give a quick little background so you understand how I got to this point, just quickly, because I think I will do another video that will talk about how did I end up with a bisexual husband. Yeah, that's a whole story in itself. I don't want to get down into that today. But what did happen was that I was in a long-term relationship with a man. And we had two children, we had a home, we had a dog, we had a regular kind of a life. And he came out to me around the 12.5-year mark that he was bisexual. Now, things had been kind of falling apart before that time for about a year. We were not communicating as well. He was going off on bike rides for extended periods of time, like 3-4 hours. And I was wondering, where did he go? What is he doing for so long? I tried to calculate. He went here, he went there, and he would tell me he did this, he did that, he stopped there. I thought it's just getting too long. I think something is odd, but I didn't really question because I completely trusted him, fully on trusted. But it felt weird. Something felt weird, and he was kind of pulling back, and that made me pull back. And at the same time, the relationship, we'd been talking about different kinds of possible sexual exploration to do together. Go to a sex party maybe, or do other kind of sexually intriguing things, but we were scared to actually go beyond just the two of us, go beyond the monogamous unit. And then one day he finally opens up and he tells me that he is bisexual. So I made the decision that, okay, if you're bisexual, let's open up the relationship. I am I'm wanting to explore sexually as well, and you're bisexual, so that's who you are. I mean, I'm going to accept you for who you are. I'm going to accept you for who you are, bisexual man. I want to be with you still. I love you, and so let's get into exploring our relationship in a different way, something that we needed to anyway, needed to do, that we had been talking about, and this really opened the door for us to have the possibilities. Him coming out to me in this very intimate way, revealing his deep desire to me, changed everything. So I will get into details about that next time, but I want to talk about the first MMF that we experienced, because here I am with a bisexual husband. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do it together. It was my idea, and he was very excited about that as well. And of course, something for him, something for me. So bisexual man for him, and a man for me that I could be attracted to as well and have another kind of experience with while my husband was there in the room. The idea was exciting, but to actually do it, to take the steps into it, I was quite terrified, literally terrified. I kept putting it off. I had my period like twice very quickly. I'm not feeling well suddenly a lot. I was pulling back for many reasons, many kinds of excuses. Finally, he said, this is after about 3 months in, three or so months in of us coming out and us deciding that we're going to do something. He said, when are we going to do it? It's time to do it. Whatever happens, you have the power to say no at any time. Even if we're in the middle of fucking, you can say, no, stop, this is not for me. And we will. Everyone must respect each other. So that helped a lot because I suddenly felt like, okay, fine, I have some power, I have some control, I can say no, I can breathe, and every step of the way I can check on how I am feeling, and that's literally what I did. So we're in the grocery store. One day, he and I are in the grocery store. We're walking around the grocery store shopping for groceries, and he's texting away on his telephone. He's the one who is always searching for, he'd been looking for somebody that we could play with. And at first I was looking online with him, trying to find somebody, but it just got so overwhelming for me. And I said, okay, you just narrow down the people that you think might work, the guys that you think might work, and then come to me with that. So he's in the grocery store. I'm trying to shop for groceries. He's texting to this one particular guy. Back and forth, asking questions. And I'm kind of checking over his shoulder. What are you doing? What's going on? Like, tell me what's happening. And he's kind of ignoring me because he's very focused. And then finally he said, okay, look at, you want to know what's going on? He's saying, what kind of things do you guys like? When can you come over? What does she like? What does she not like? Just sort of going back and forth about trying to get to know each other. How old are you? What have you done in the past? What have you done? Like this kind of thing. So he's very intrigued and he really likes this guy as well. He thinks that this might be a really good match for us. And I said, okay, let me see this picture of this guy. I want to see. He said, okay, I'm getting a picture. He's sending it to me, very soon. He said he's going to send it to me. I'm like, okay. I'm shopping for groceries. Okay, I got a picture. So we get together in the grocery store, we're looking at the picture. I'm like, oh, he's a younger guy, very nice looking, very nice, strong looking body, and very handsome face. Okay. I think that this might be a possibility. I'm into the picture. You talk to him, and then maybe we'll meet him and see how we feel. And my husband's like, well, we can't just meet him. He wants to meet tonight. He wants to get together. Can you do this tonight? I mean, are you ready tonight? And I could hardly breathe, but okay, yes, I'm ready. Let's go. Say yes. Remember, Liana, you can say no at any time. And so far, picture looks good. Things that he had been discussing with him look good. So yes, I'm ready to go. Okay, so they're setting it up. Okay, tonight we will meet you there. So in the grocery store, Canadian Superstore to be specific, we had set up our first MMF. We had met him and we had initially advertised on Craigslist. Free advertising. We didn't actually post our pictures. You just posted some details about who we were, what we were looking for. Lots of response. I mean, there are a lot of men out there and bi-curious or bisexual men that want to have experiences, looking for couples in particular, because there's no strings attached really with couples. It gives them an opportunity to go into a scenario where it's a secure couple. To go into a scenario where it's a secure couple. And I think, and I have talked to a number of bisexual men. They feel safer in that kind of scenario, and this is a fantasy. So we narrowed it down to this guy. We were going to meet him that night, in the grocery store. Go home. We start to get ready. What are we going to wear? What am I going to wear? Oh my God, what am I going to wear? What am I going to do? I don't know if I can do it. I'm still terrified. Terror. I mean, I had not had sex with another man for 13 years. I had not even thought it would be possible ever in our lives. I was somewhat not connected to my sexual being, because I had only been with my partner, and I had only explored to a certain degree with him. I was very curious around sexuality, though. I've always been curious about sexuality. So this was like, okay, this is quite the fantasy that I've always wanted to do, but terrified. So taking it step by step that evening, getting ready, putting on some, nice stockings, some lingerie underneath a dress, not sure how far we were going to go. My husband was nervous too, because we didn't really know this guy, and we decided that what we had decided with this man was that we were going to come to his place. He had a suite of his own, and we were going to first just sit and have a drink and see how we liked each other first. And if energetically things came together, then we would go to the next step. So I felt good about that. I felt that, okay, there's nothing that he knows that the commitment could end. I feel safe that there's a possibility that I can leave if I don't feel comfortable. And I wanted to have lots of space to drop into this experience, to feel good about it, to feel good about this other person as it being my very, very first time. And I was also very nervous about, what is my husband going to think about this? How is he going to react with me being with another man, and how am I going to react seeing him with another man, which I had never seen before. I had only now imagined quite a bit, because he told me he was bisexual, and I thought, oh my God, what does that look like? So lots of fear between the two of us. We get into our car, driving down the streets, trying to find this location somewhere on the east side, far from where we live. Find out it's a basement suite of a house. I go up to the door with my husband, absolutely trembling, and just breathing deeply. Okay, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be knock on the door. Guy opens the door. Very nice looking man. You can see he's a little bit nervous too. We kind of look at each other, and he said, "Hi, would you like to come in?" And my husband looks at me, and I'm like, okay. Yes. We go into this little basement apartment, which is very, a nice living space, clean, which was important to me. If it had been dirty, I would have been out of there so fast, but it was clean. It was light colored. We sat down. He served us some wine out of juice cups, but it was wine. That was nice. We had a little bit of banter between all of us about how are you feeling, nice place, small talk, because we really didn't know what we were going to say at this point. It was just try to feel, what does it feel like being with this person? How does it feel energetically? Are we attracted to him? And my husband and I kind of look at each other, and he looks at me like, well, how are you feeling? I'm like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. He said, okay. He said, well, then let's take it to the next step. I don't think we're having sex here. He doesn't say that. He says, is there somewhere else? Can we see your bedroom? And the guy said, yes, of course. Yeah, I'll show you my bedroom, which was just a door over on the side We walk over to the bedroom. He opens the door. It's a small room with a large queen-size bed, and he has put candles all around the room. So it's candle lit, and it's clean, and it's neat, and it looks so inviting. I mean, we're just all kind of like peering in the door, and I'm, oh my God, this is quite nice. Okay, I think I can take the next step. So I'm breathing. Okay, let's do this thing. The two men go in first, and I'm going quite slowly. I'm looking around the room, just kind of taking it in. I sit down on the end of the bed and kind of just breathing, just trying to take in the energy of the room. I'm looking at something in the room, not at them at this point. And I'm moving. It feels like things are in slow motion, actually. So I'm looking around, and then I'm hoping that I'm still connected. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Well, my time is moving. And then I look over to the other side of the bed where they have gone, and they are making out, ripping each other's clothes off. They already have their shirts off, and their pants are starting to come off, and I'm just like, my eyes like bulge out of my head. I can't believe what's happening already, that it has happened so quickly, and I'm so just getting prepared here. And they're making out, and they're all over each other, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's already started. I didn't know what I was thinking, how it was going to start. I had no idea how it was going to start, but they started pretty fast. And then my husband looks over at me, and he sees that I'm looking pretty terrified. And he said, okay, just let's take this down a little bit here, a little bit slower, because Leanna's not really, Leanna has not been with two men before. And so let's just take it down. He had not been with this guy before, but there's another story I'm going to tell about. He was exploring with men behind my back before he told me. So that's a whole other aspect. It was very hot to see him with this young guy. I mean, I was shocked because it was happening so fast, but I was also like so intrigued and turned on, like, wow, this is amazing. Oh my God, where do I fit in? So they stop. They have their shirts off. By now, their pants are coming off. They come onto the bed, and then they slowly come near me and just say, okay, my husband comes and says, okay, let's just go slowly. And he kisses me, starts to kiss my lips and my neck, and just get me, as a woman, in particular, a woman who has never been in this kind of situation before, and who is already terrified and titillated. I'm very titillated and kind of, wow, this could be exciting. You do want to go slow if you're the guy taking your partner on this. Take your time with her, check in with her energy. So he comes in, takes me, slowly kissing me and holding me, and then he asks the guy to join us, and he kind of takes control of the scene. He had a very masculine dominating kind of personality. So he liked to take control of what was going on, which really made me feel more comfortable. But at the same time, I was still checking on, okay, this guy's now coming towards me. And now my first kiss with a man. I've never kissed a man for 13 years. Honestly, I never cheated on my husband ever before that. And so we start making out, and I'm like, oh, this man is a good kisser. And then where three of us are kissing, and it's lovely and beautiful connection. And that fires everything up. But the pace still went slowly. So slowly my top comes off. I'm wearing lingerie and stockings, and I'm laid out on the bed. And just the two of them decide to just kind of stroke my body, kiss my body, to get me in the mood. And let me tell you, two men kissing and stroking my body, which I'm not naked yet. I'm wearing my lingerie. I got extremely excited, extremely wet, and extremely ready for whatever they had in store. So, with a threesome with a bisexual man, two bisexual men, it's really lovely because the combinations there are many combinations that you can experiment into. So the three of us were, first we're kissing, then we're stroking my body, then slowly my clothes come off as they're stroking until the three of us are naked. And now we're touching each other's bodies and feeling and touching each other's bodies, getting in connection with each other, getting a sense of the feel of each other with us as a group. And now the scenario starts to shift and change, and the heat starts to build. And now we have two beautiful hard cocks, and we have a wet pussy. So this is when the mouths start to come into play, and there was no penetration initially, just a lot of sucking and licking and, shifting from one mouth to another, and two cocks in one mouth, lying in different positions to access different body parts. And it's hard to go into exact shapes and forms that we went into, but a lot of kind of touching and licking and kissing and sucking first before the first penetration. The idea is for me as a woman to get really, really excited, and I was getting excited. There was also some nice calm music that was playing that was really exciting. At one point, it was very exciting, and we were really charged, and my husband starts to penetrate me, which was very easy for me because I was so wet and open and ready for this experience, and he was penetrating me. So now we are having sex in a room with somebody else, actually having penetrative sex, which I'd never done before as well. Everything that night I'd never done before, all was new. So penetrative sex, and that was very exciting. He was watching, he was excited. And then his cock goes in my mouth while I'm being penetrated. So that was a position I had never had before, and it was. I got lost. I for my first experience, I was so afraid, terrified, and titillated at the same time that it was hard to be really present. So much was happening. So much eroticism was taking place, connection, sexual appetites were really big. The energy was just kept building and building, and my husband is having sex with me, is fucking me, and his cock is in my mouth, and we're going, and then I just couldn't breathe at one point. I'm like, okay, wait, let's just stop for a second, and so everybody just kind of stopped. This is probably into it about 15-20 minutes, and I felt like it had built so high. And I had reached levels of orgasm already. They were still, in this state of ejaculation control, but I had to stop. We stopped for a second. We stopped. We literally just slowed right down. Everybody got a drink of water, and we just sat on the bed again quietly and let the energy build in an organic manner again, which it did. And this time, as the energy built, starting kind of slow, but then building up, it crescendoed even higher. And I had a number of orgasms while I was put into a variety of different positions, positions on my hands and knees with my husband behind me, the man in front of me, my husband sucking the man, me sucking my husband. With two bisexual men, they can enjoy each other's body parts, and then I can enjoy their body parts, and I can enjoy my husband's. And we had actually decided that there wasn't going to be any penetration from the other man in this first experience. we're not ready for it. It was our first time, but there was a lot to do with an extra cock in the scene. And my husband, because he was very attracted to men because of not, he doesn't have access to a cock like I don't have a cock. So that's the benefit of having another guy in the room, and he can have that desire fulfilled. So he was very interested in spending time with this man's cock, and then the two of us were playing with his cock at the same time. He had not a large cock, but a beautiful sized cock. It was a really gorgeous exploration of another physical human being's body. It created a lot more heat in the room, and I went on a ride that I could never have dreamt of or expected. Just almost being lifted on a cloud and moved into different positions, gently, caringly, lovingly, being penetrated, being sucked and licked and kissed, and in all sorts of varieties of positions. I think we were there for at least an hour. So the whole experience was absolutely phenomenal. And then at the end, I believe my husband was fucking me, and the other man's cock was near my mouth, and everybody kind of crescendoed for the last time, and we had a final. He didn't ejaculate in my mouth. Ejaculated on my chest, I believe, on my breast. Final crescendo, and everybody had a huge, big, gigantic orgasm, and then we all fell on the bed in absolute, complete, blissful state. So, of course, yes, blissful state, absolute blissful state. So once the men have ejaculated, it's pretty much over for a while, right? I mean, I had a number of orgasms. Through my experiences, through my sexual exploration, through my sexual experiences, I learned to connect to my G-spot, connect to my deeper cervical orgasms, and I'm able to have multiple orgasms. And my husband, because he practiced a lot of ejaculation control, he was able to have orgasms without ejaculating. A lot of the partners that we played with, a lot of the men that we played with, many of them, some of them were able to do ejaculation control, some were not, some ejaculated very quickly, and it doesn't make for a very fun experience. We want to you want to experience it. You want to have the beautiful connection last for an hour or more. An hour is actually, minimal amount of time. And it being our first time, an hour was full for us. In future events, we had multi-hour, multi-day experiences as we found different kinds of partners that could last that long. But in this event, 1 hour was perfect for both of us, as it being the first time experience for an MMF for the two of us, and for this younger guy too. It was just, we were all pretty spent physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's a spiritual event. It's a spiritual event because after we left, I'm going to tell you about this aspect. So we were all spent, completely exhausted, lying on the bed. He gets up, he gets water for us again, just a really caring person, a caring man, thinking about everybody very, very gently, and bringing water. And so it was, the event's pretty much over. We're not there to get to know each other that well. It was about the sex. And we got dressed and we left, and my husband and I were just like vibrating at this high, beautiful, blissful, level of I can't even think of the word to describe it, but we were so elated. We were so happy, so joyful. And we decided to go to a nearby bar to have a drink. And we're just like, that was the absolute best sexual experience that we have ever had in our lives. That's what we both felt. We both were right there at the top of the most incredible experience we had ever had in our lives. And I, at the time, was 43. He was 44. So, coming in this together as a loving, mature, solid, monogamous couple who were ready to enter into non-monogamy, ready to explore, ready to try something more adventurous in our sexual relationships. It was a perfect time. It was a perfect time. It was a perfect time because we had each other, and bringing in another person was like really adding this spice to shift and change our sexual connection into a place that could go through different experiences, could feel something different, could expand beyond what we had been doing for 13 years, which was getting kind of boring, which we had really, come to the end of that journey. So this was the first step into our new journey, into our open relationship. It was absolutely counterintuitive to what I had initially thought, because I was terrified initially, thinking all sorts of horrible possibilities may come about. And it ended up being, the most amazing, transformational as well event sexually in my life. And I say transformational because I felt, my whole body felt alive like never before. It's like when you first meet somebody that you really, really like, and you get so excited, and you're just in this whole new energy of just connection and sexual energy, and you're really charged and excited and passionate, and that's how we felt, like really heightened. And after 13 years of marriage, it was beautiful. It was like, wow, like we said, we're ready to do this. Let's continue. I said, okay, I've gotten over the hump. So now I'm ready to continue and keep going. That was just so amazing. And we fell in love that day as well. Like deeper than we had ever been in love before, knowing that here we had found each other, that we would allow each other to explore in a sexual way. We'd allow each other to go into desires that we had, to experiment, to play out our fantasies. I mean, it was really transformational in that sense. And I again felt like I had really connected to my sexual being, which had been a long, long time. My husband and I had really great sex, but when you're in a marriage and you're very focused on your partner and your kids and your home, and you're not doing a lot of flirtation. You're not getting any feedback from the opposite sex that often. You're not really looking for it either. You don't really want it because you're very focused on your own little insular world. So you kind of lose that connection to your own sexual potency, right? And in that moment, having two men just completely adore my body and sexually connect with me was the most phenomenal experience. And I was now ready to try some new stuff, to continue, to keep going. So that was my first MMF with my husband. If you have any other detailed questions, I went into as much detail as I thought I needed to at this point. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me about anything that you want, and I will definitely answer your questions. And I look forward to telling you my next story coming up in 1 month, the beginning of January, first Wednesday of January. And I will see you then. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for supporting me on this Patreon. This story is going to be part of my book, and because it's the first event, and it was so important to my husband and I entering into a non-monogamous relationship, entering into allowing each other to play out our own desires, and entering into a whole new sexual dimension as a long-term couple. So I look forward to seeing you again soon. Much lovemaking.